How's it going, YouTube? This video is going to be about Engelhard silver. I've done a few videos of my stack as I started back up and where I've gotten, but my primary focus has been Engelhard silver. To me, the appeal of vintage silver can't really be beat. There's people that'll make comments like, they don't see the appeal of vintage silver, that there's newer silver out that looks better. Honestly, almost anything new I view that as generic silver. It doesn't have the same character as vintage silver. And vintage silver is a whole world within itself. Engelhard, Johnson Matthey, W.H. Foster. I mean, there's Nevada Coin Mart, there's A-Mark, and a lot of stuff, a lot smaller refineries than that. And it's huge. That community is growing rapidly. And if you don't know much about Engelhard, Charles Engelhard Sr. was into the metal refinery business a long time ago. I think he started doing it in 1903 or something like that, and he was known as the Platinum King. And he did a lot of metal refinery, a lot of industrial, metal usages, did some bullion and things of that nature. And his son, Charles Engelhard Jr., is the one that really grew the business. And Engelhard Jr. is reported saying he never recalls having a personal conversation with his dad. It was always business. And it kind of made him into the businessman that he grew to be. And if you didn't know, Charles Engelhard Jr. is the guy that in the old James Bond movie, Auric Goldfinger, he's modeled after Charles Engelhard Jr. His whole setup, how he conducted business, he was modeled after Engelhard, who was a socialite, very popular within social circles, bred golden retrievers, had very, very famous racing horses, just a great personality, and he died young. But he grew Engelhard Industries Corporation vastly. And so with that out of the way, I'll talk through some of these pieces that I have. And we'll start over here with the heaviest piece. And that's this kilo. So these kilo bars, there was about 7,000 of them minted. And this on the Sigma 99.99 is still dead center. So it's 4 nines fawn silver. It's great, and I love the stamping on these. It says there's 7,000 of them minted, but I would tell you that I believe there's far less than that in circulation. And you can see the pour lines and stuff on this. It is a beautiful bar. All the stamping, Mokata and Goldsmith, Bullion Brokers. That is an amazing bar. And right now, a kilo is 32.15 ounces. And you can get a generic kilo bar for probably $800 or so right now. And the pricing on this, the worth of this is about double that. Amazing Engelhard bar. And so now I'll get to the two celebrities of the group. I've done a video on this one before, but this is a first series prototype bar. This is, it's first series because it has the dot here within this. I'll call it a bull's head, but this is the old symbol of platinum. But this usually denotes that these bars were made in Canada. But this first series landscape Canadian bar, this is a prototype, because the serial number started with 2 or 3, if I do believe, if I recall correctly. And when I sent this to Engelhard, there's a lot of details in the other video. They had not seen one like it before. But because it was a number 23, they actually put this bar on the website. This actual bar is pictured on the website. And they said that there was less than 25 minted. So this was the only one they've seen. So I'll be honest with you, I definitely don't think there's 22 other ones out there. I think when they made, did these prototypes and had mistakes, they just melted those things down and put them back into the, into the series. But this one somehow walked out of the refinery. And some 50 years later, I have it. This is a 20-ounce bar. This is a 9th series bar. And only 750 of these were minted. And like I said, there's probably far fewer of these in circulation. And this is my second celebrity bar. This actual bar is posted on all Engelhard website as well. Same exact bar. So these two bars, I call them my celebrity bars. These are actually on the website. Not just the serial number, but the actual bars pictured. These are X8 error bars. And on the All Engelhard site, they said that there's less than 250 of these. While I do view them as the authority, and they know more than I would say most other people, just by how many of them are on eBay and on the websites and other people's collections I've seen. I mean, I have 4 of them, and I know other people with 3 or 4 of them, and they're for sale pretty often on eBay. I would think that the numbers are greater than 250. And if they're not, someone has preserved the collection and recently pushed it out in, into the market, and they're just kind of flooding the market right now. But these are great poured bars. These are good X8 examples. You see where the X8 on the roller was too high, so it's called an error bar. And both of these bars are good examples of that. These other two, the stamp missed completely. And if you notice this one, you can see the little bottom of the 8 faintly there, but this is the 11738, and I believe this to be the 10738. When dealing with vintage silver, me especially, I pay very close attention to serial numbers. They mean a lot to me. And with that brings me one of the prizes of the collection. Now, normally these pilaf bars are not exceptionally rare. They're the 11th series pilaf bars, and they had a mintage of like 200,000. But a lot of these things were melted down. Back in the 70s and 80s, Engelhard was viewed as fairly generic silver. And so when refineries would need silver to melt to make new things, a lot of times Engelhard was melted. So while there's not 200,000 of these in circulation now, probably far, far fewer, these are still a pretty common bar. But what is not common about these is you can see that these bars are exceptionally clean. And more importantly, this is 8 sequential serial numbers, starting at 93, going all the way up to 99. So someone bought these bars some 40, 50 years ago, put them in a safe, and kept them there together this entire time. And so when they come up for sale, I insured to buy them together. I don't believe in splitting up serial numbers of vintage bars. So these are definitely a prized possession of mine, to have 8 sequential serial numbers on vintage silver bars that are that old. That is great to me. Now these bars are also sequential, 44 and 45. Now somebody, you have these bars, they're old. I mean, they've seen a lot of owners, some of them. Like, I do believe those are probably 1 owner or 2 owner bars. You know, those haven't been through a lot of different hands. I mean, I would say at the least 4. The person that bought them sold them to the local coin store. The person bought them from that coin store, and I bought them from that person. So I'd say 4. I mean, those bars are in exceptional shape. These bars look like, and while they're in good shape, looks like they had some toning on them, and someone that didn't know much about silver took some sandpaper to this thing, and they did it to both bars. Well, I'll tell you, don't ever do that. If you have toning on a bar and you don't necessarily like toning, get you a soft bristle toothbrush and some toothpaste and gently brush it, and you'll clean a lot of that toning off, and you'll still have toning on the bar. You will not have severely damaged the bar. This I view to be damaged just because of the sanding. Now, I still love these bars because they're sequential serial numbers. But if it were not for the sequential serial numbers, I would probably not think very highly of these, just because I feel that someone has damaged them. Now, these are 2 more sequential serial number bars that I have. 3.6 and 3.7. And these bars by themselves have a tremendous amount of character. So this is 3.6 and 3.7. These are waffle back bars. They have about a 50,000 mintage on them. And more rare than that is they have the obverse stamp. This is an error where the press came down on an empty mold, hit the mold with no silver in it, hard enough to leave the impression as well as the hex screws. And then the next pour that went into the mold was stamped and left this impression on the pieces of silver after that. So not only are they waffle back poured Engelhard bars, they're sequential, and they have the obverse arrow stamp. These are definitely high character pieces in my collection. I love both of those bars, and I got those for a very good price. I think I only paid around $7.80 for both of them, less than $400 a piece, and I view that to be a very, very good deal. So down here, this is just a standard waffle back bar. It's very clean. Doesn't have the obverse stamp, but a very clean waffle back bar. And like I said, the waffle backs have like a 50K mintage. And these Canadian bars have about a 50K mintage as well. This is a 3rd series bar. Like I said, this is the old symbol for platinum, but it's the bull's head, commonly called Canadian. These are W series bars. There was about 18,000 of these made, which makes them fairly rare. And because of the texture of these, I don't think a lot of them made it through the melts. I think a lot of these bars got melted down. If you look at them, some people might not think that these are very attractive, but I love these poured bars. They're great. And I don't know if I said it, but this W denotes that it was poured at the California recycling facility. And like I said, there was only 18,000 of these made. This is a 5-ounce pilaf, very similar to a 10-ounce pilaf. And there was about 10,000 of these minted, which makes it a pretty rare bar as well. You won't see many of these floating around. Now, more rare are these little Canadian 5 ounces. There's about 5,000 of these. Now, these are on all Engelhard considered to be the same bar, the same series of 5-ounce bar. But if you look at them and hold them side by side, they were not cast from the same mold. And even the stamping pressure and everything on them is different. They look like they could be two different series of bar. But regardless, I got both of these. I mean, for the price that most would pay for a 10-ounce bar a piece, and I still consider that a great deal based on the fact that these are pretty hard to come by. So I've only got 3 5-ounce bars. And then moving over, just your standard landscape Engelhard. I like the feel of these. It's very chunky. Standard cast bar. Now this one I think had a mintage of about 450,000. Correction, 125,000. This is a 12 series, and this second series cast bar, there was about 450,000 of these. This is probably one of the most highly minted 10-ounce bars that Engelhard had. These are very common. And when I got this, it was still in the plastic. I don't recommend you taking the plastic off of them if you get them, but I do. I like to be able to touch the silver. And these are just P-bars, more P-loafs. Like I said, these still carry a pretty good premium. And then there's just some little 1-ounce bars and rounds up there. But yeah, this is the Engelhard collection so far. And I have got to a point now where I've probably got about 600 ounces of silver and a few ounces of gold. I'm probably going to hold tight for a little while, stack the fiat back up a little bit, and then and just buy pieces as I come across them. I'm pretty happy with the Engelhard collection as it sits. And if you guys have Engelhards, you know, reply to this video and show me your Engelhard collection. I love to see vintage Engelhard stuff. All right, guys, like and subscribe. Have a good day.